Dust billowed behind the sleek black SUV as it screeched to a halt beside a rusted, sagging gate. The vehicle's expensive finish stood in stark contrast to the weathered, sun-baked landscape of Ezra's 40-acre farm. Out stepped Mr. Curtis Van Der Zee, AVP of Acquisitions for the colossal Zenith Pipeline Corporation. Curtis wore a tailored suit and the aggressive confidence of a man accustomed to getting his way. He was here to close the deal or, failing that, to make things prohibitively unpleasant. Ezra, the farm's sole inhabitant, was out near an old tractor working on its engine with wrenches the size of small hammers. He was a compact man of 70, his skin like worn leather, his movements slow but deliberate. "You are Ezra Cole," Curtis demanded, not bothering with pleasantries. Ezra wiped grease from his hands with a rag and nodded slowly. "That's me." "You're early for the hay delivery." "I am not delivering hay. I am here to finalize the transfer of this parcel." "You've stalled negotiations for 6 months, Mr. Cole. The easement for the Zenith Pipeline runs directly through this land, and we are activating eminent domain procedures tomorrow. You need to abandon this farm by the end of the week." Curtis produced a stack of papers and waved them dismissively. "Take this settlement. It's generous. This land is worthless to you now." Ezra dropped his wrench. The sound echoed in the silence. He sighed, looking from the arrogant developer to the simple, dilapidated barbed wire fence that bordered his property. "Worthless, you say?" Ezra pushed his heavy work goggles onto his forehead. "That fence, Mr. Van Der Zee, what do you see?" "I see 50-year-old rusty wire and rotting posts. An eyesore. You're wasting our time." Ezra walked toward the boundary line, his boots crunching on the dry dirt. "I see a perimeter defense system, a highly complex, highly sensitive kinetic dispersal matrix." Curtis laughed, a harsh, dismissive sound. "What in God's name are you talking about? Are you threatening me, old man?" Ezra stopped at the fence and placed a gentle hand on the top wire. His entire posture shifted. The easy lethargy of the farmhand vanished, replaced by the coiled tension and focused clarity of a combat specialist. "I spent 25 years with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Mr. Van Der Zee. My specialty wasn't digging trenches. It was advanced non-lethal demolition and strategic site denial. When I retired, I had 3 simple needs: peace, quiet, and absolutely no unexpected visitors." He gave the wire a soft tug, barely enough to make the pole wobble. "Every post you see the rotting cedar posts is sunk into a concrete housing containing a low-yield acoustic charge. Every length of wire is laced with microscopic piezoelectric sensors. If the system detects a sustained vibration characteristic of heavy machinery, unauthorized ground penetration, or the installation of survey markers, the entire perimeter activates." Curtis's smug smile faltered. "Activates? With what? Buzzing noises?" "No, with a series of directional flashbangs and concussive air bursts. Non-lethal, designed only to disrupt, deafen, and disable equipment within a 100-yard radius," Ezra explained calmly. "The blast synchronization is linked to the underground geology. It will shake your drilling equipment off its mounts, instantly fry the sensitive electronics of your survey gear, and trigger enough false seismic readings to make the land look like a fault line. The system is self-repairing, solar-charged, and entirely invisible from above ground." He paused, then added, "It takes me a month to rearm after a coyote touches the wrong wire." Ezra then walked over to a small, innocuous wooden bird feeder near the gate. He pulled a concealed switch underneath it, a master control. A low, electronic hum filled the air, and a small red LED blinked on the side of the feeder. "Tell me, Mr. Van Der Zee," Ezra said, gesturing to the property line with a sweep of his hand, "how exactly is your multi-billion-dollar corporation going to lay a pipeline through land that, at the first sign of a shovel, turns into a self-detonating concert of controlled chaos? You can't survey it, you can't dig it, and you certainly can't build on it without a full, weeks-long, hazard suit-required manual deactivation by an expert who built the damn thing." Curtis was pale, his fury replaced by cold, professional dread. he wasn't dealing with a stubborn farmer. He was dealing with an active military site denial system disguised as a humble boundary line. The estimated cost of neutralizing this threat would dwarf the value of the entire pipeline section. His mind was racing, calculating the colossal penalties Zenith would face for missing deadlines on this massive infrastructure project. Curtis swallowed hard, adjusting his tie a gesture that failed to restore his composure. "This is highly illegal, Mr. Cole. Tampering with federal eminent domain access, deploying explosive devices. The charges are certified acoustic dispersal units, Mr. Vendor Z, not explosives." Ezra corrected him softly, the precision in his voice unsettling. "They are classified under FCC Regulation 15.247 as low-power electromagnetic interference generators during activation. Think of it as a very aggressive, deeply localized, and temporary lightning strike. Non-lethal, non-damaging to the land, just exceedingly disruptive to sensitive machinery. As for illegal, I am protecting my private property." I imagine Zenith's lawyers are quite familiar with the case law regarding nuisance devices designed to protect against environmental degradation or unauthorized trespass. Curtis reached for his phone, his fingers slick with sweat. "I need to call my corporate engineering team. They can look at this. They can send a drone." "I wouldn't recommend that," Ezra interjected mildly. "The Kinetic Dispersal Matrix isn't just ground-based. The piezoelectric weave in the wire lattice also generates a low-frequency, intermittent acoustic shield. It confuses advanced LiDAR and ground-penetrating radar. Furthermore, the bird feeder houses a secondary unit, a sophisticated wideband directional jammer. If your drone flies within 500 feet, it will experience immediate GPS signal loss and complete command and control failure. It won't crash. It will simply become very confused and fly home, assuming it can escape the localized EMP burst from the acoustic charges before they disable its flight control systems entirely." Ezra walked slowly along the fence line, pointing out seemingly random elements. "See that large mesquite tree? Its root system is used to anchor a seismic dampener. It ensures the concussive blasts only travel laterally and vertically along the line of intrusion, not back toward my house. That old, broken irrigation pipe, it's a dedicated shielded fiber optic line running 3 terabytes of redundant memory, ensuring the system can operate perfectly even if the main solar charge fails. This isn't a quick fix rig, sir. This is a 25-year culmination of applied strategic denial technology." The VP felt a wave of nausea. He realized the farmer wasn't trying to squeeze out a few extra $1,000. He was rendering the entire parcel functionally unusable for industrial purposes. Zenith's lawyers could obtain a dozen court orders, but no judge could force a man to dismantle a perfectly legal, non-lethal, self-defending security system of this complexity without a massive and embarrassing federal intervention. The pipeline timetable was now in jeopardy. Curtis lowered his phone, defeated, and tried a new tactic: appeal to greed. "Mr. Cole, we can quadruple the offer. We can offer you $5 million, tax-free. You can buy a dozen farms elsewhere and retire to the coast." Ezra stopped at the corner post, a particularly rusty specimen. He smiled, but there was no warmth in his eyes. "Mr. Van der Zee, you mistake my purpose. This farm isn't about money, it's about peace. I spent my career designing ways for people to kill each other efficiently or to disrupt enemy infrastructure, so completely that they couldn't fight back. I designed this fence to ensure that when I came home, I would never have to deal with an unexpected visitor again. And I certainly wouldn't have to deal with the inevitable environmental damage and noise pollution your pipeline would bring." He tapped the old cedar post with his knuckle. "You are not offering me a better life. You are offering me a slightly richer version of the life I retired from: noise, complication, and people demanding access to what is not theirs. That fence is the price of my peace, and that peace, sir, is non-negotiable." The small red LED on the bird feeder continued to blink, A silent, mocking countdown to Zenith's financial ruin if they pushed ahead. Curtis, realizing he had no play left, retreated slowly to his black SUV. He didn't dare turn his back fully to Ezra until he was inside the vehicle. He looked at the stack of Eminent domain papers, now worthless, lying on the passenger seat. Ezra walked back to his tractor, picking up his wrench, its polished head glinting in the harsh afternoon sun. He pulled down his goggles, obscuring his eyes once more. "Now, if you don't mind," he said, his voice back to its weary drawl, the accent of the old farmer returning perfectly. "I've got an old engine that needs my attention. And you, Mr. Van der Zee, have a very expensive hole in your pipeline plan."